When the whistles blow and the cymbals crash and the sparklers light the sky, I'm gonna raise the roof, I'm gonna carry on. Give me an old trombone, give me an old baton.
Well, hello.
Look who's here.
Dolly, this is Louis.
Hello, Louis.
Dolly, it's so nice to have you back where you belong.
I am so glad to be back. Dolly, you'll never go away. Dolly, you'll never go away. Dolly, you'll never go away again.
I was fortunate to grow up with the older, classic musicals like The Music Man, Singin' in the Rain, and The Sound of Music. But for some reason or another, one stands among the rest for me, and that is the Barbra Streisand hit Hello, Dolly from 1969. This will not be the last musical on this list of my 100 favorite movies, but it without a doubt is the most special to me in my heart. I have many reasons for this film being as memorable and good as it is for me. After seeing it first in my grandparents' house, it took my family forever to actually find a VHS copy of the movie. Now, of course, you can stream Hello, Dolly on Disney Plus if you wanted to. Once we found another copy of the movie, we watched it many times as a family as I grew up. My parents gave me the soundtrack CD to the movie as a birthday present one year, and it's the first soundtrack I actually remember owning, and I still have it and listen to it to this day. Some kids grew up with musicals and loved them, and still love them to this day. And some kids, even if they did grow up with musicals, don't like them and have never really understood them. Of course, some didn't grow up with them at all. I happily was exposed to them at an early age. Since musicals were an often occurrence in my house, I always loved watching them, and in fact, enjoy and appreciate them even more now. It goes without saying that Hello, Dolly has fun, catchy, and heartwarming musical tunes throughout its runtime. But aside from this big factor into what makes a musical great, I always loved the humor in the film. From Dolly Levi's sarcastic and subtle comments on any given situation, to the simultaneously relatable yet over-the-top antics of Cornelius and Barnaby, wanting to go on an adventure just for one day, and not come home until they've kissed a girl. I remember growing up thinking, you know, a day like that really would be a fun experience. I love feel-good movies, and Hello, Dolly certainly is one of those. And despite its typically longer runtime for a musical, it goes by at such a fast pace. Maybe it's because there is always something interesting going on, with its large variety of characters to keep track of, or it's Barbra Streisand's somehow endearing, fast-talking, persuasive dialogue that's getting us throughout the movie. Every song by composer and lyricist Jerry Herman is unique in its own way. But my favorite is a tie between the early Put On Your Sunday Clothes, which most modern-day audiences will recognize from the beginning sequences in Pixar's WALL-E, and the much-adored title song, Hello, Dolly. This was the first movie I remember seeing with Barbra Streisand in it, and I'm not ashamed to say I remember having a bit of a crush on her. The lavish gold and red colors of the Harmonia Gardens restaurant set against Dolly's shimmering dress, with the jaw-dropping and perfectly timed choreography of the posh kitchen and waiting staff all around her. It wasn't until many years later that I realized that the great Gene Kelly directed this movie, and of course, seeing it now, that completely makes sense. I always laugh at Cornelius and Barnaby pretending to be big shots and trying to get away from their table, but bumbling into the waiters and their trays. This movie, like so many other films I like, reminds me of a simpler time. But aside from some minor things like costumes and types of motor vehicles, this movie could really take place today. It has humor, heart, and an enduring story. And all of these attributes, plus its own inherent charm, make this a bucket list and essential musical. And whether it occurred historically in the golden age of musicals or not, I think it undeniably should be included. Hello, Dolly remains my favorite musical film, and therefore, I have to include it in my 100 favorite movies.